189 dealers that yesterday they terminated us, but they have no reason why or explanation why I'm terminated. It was supposed to be for unprofitable dealers. We're happen to be a profitable dealer, and we're in business 59 years, 7 months.
59 years you've been a Chrysler dealer.
19 employees, supposed to tell them all, good luck, take care.
Okay. You own all the cars, right? I mean, Chrysler doesn't give you the cars. You have to buy them from Chrysler. So they take your dealership, and what do they do with it?
It's my hard-earned business, my family's hard-earned business is getting not terminated like they sent me like this, but taking to another dealership 2 miles up the road. So to me, termination means end of story termination, it's done. Not where somebody gets my business for free that I've succeeded in bad times after 59 years and 7 months. It's not ethical.
Okay. This is what I was saying, America. You're on the list. I mean, you might think that it's okay what they're doing to the banks. Angelo, did you think when all this started, you probably sat there and went, you know what, those banks, yeah, kick those guys, those AIG guys. Well, now you're on the list.
Absolutely.
Now you're on the list. Let me go to, where's Scott Moss? Scott, from Forest and Field, a big gun dealership in Connecticut. You've seen a dramatic spike on gun sales in Connecticut, which Connecticut, you're down in the southern, you're right here in New York. I mean, this isn't exactly the hunting capital of the world. Who's coming in and buying guns?
Everybody's buying guns right now. I have all walks of life coming in. I've got husbands and wives. I've got granddaughters coming in. I've got people that voted for Obama, liberals that are scared of losing their rights to buy guns. Everybody has been buying guns.
Okay, so this is not a crackpot Tea Party right wing. I work for the GOP. Karl Rove called me last night and told me to go buy a gun, people.
Absolutely not.
Right.
We abide by all the laws. Everybody fills out all their paperwork.
Right.
They're happy to do it. And they're really good people, and people just feel that there is no protection. The police aren't going to protect them. The government certainly. The government can't run itself. How could it take care of protecting an individual?
Are you saying, Scott, that it is a protection? People want to protect themselves because they think it's going to be a meltdown, or do they think the government is out of control?
Well, it is a meltdown, and the government is out of control. And I mean, given the situation of this country, the finances that we have, it's a mess. People losing all of their money in 401ks, people losing all their jobs. Unemployment just keeps going up and up. I mean, the only thing that's good about unemployment going up is the traffic's not too bad in Connecticut now. Right. Nobody's going to work.
Let me go to Carl. He's a representative from the state of Utah. We talked, what was it, Carl, last week? Yeah, last week. You're a former cop. You watched the 9/12 program. You became a 9/12er. And you started, all I can think of now is Thomas Paine. It wasn't Thomas Paine. What was
another one? Patrick Henry.
Patrick Henry, yeah. The
Patrick Henry caucus.
Okay.
That's right.
And you're in government.
I am. I'm in the state legislature.
Sorry for that.
Well, you know what? I am too sometimes, Glenn. I really am. The Patrick Henry caucus, we formed it in Utah. And the way I look at it is it brings teeth to what the 9/12ers are doing. I'm a 9/12er, and the citizens are frustrated. The citizens are sick and tired of liberty and freedoms being destroyed all the time, and the government doing it. So what I decided to do, I was sick of it. I know some of my fellow legislators were sick of it, and I know there's other legislators around the country who are sick of it. So I decided to form the Patrick Henry Caucus, which is state legislators from throughout the country who are going to unify and join together to push forward the agenda that the 9/12 group supports, and we're going to do this together. The citizens can't do it together. They can write letters and they can organize. But they need the lawmakers who can help repeal some of these laws and fight back against a tyrannical federal government.
Let me go to David Buckner is here from Columbia University, and I got to ask you, I mean, you're on the show all the time. Do you ever teach?
I do.
Yeah, okay. Jeez, man.
Every now and then.
What I wanted to ask you, and Carl, you know because you're right next to California. Yeah. California is melting down. I mean, they're selling the prisons. I don't know. If you buy San Quentin, do you get the prisoners with it? Or I don't know how that works.
We don't want them.
Right, but they're selling San Quentin. They're selling everything. Everything. We're going to do an auction on Monday's show for California. And believe me, you can get it for a song right now. They're now talking, David, about bailing out California. Barney Frank introduced a bill to actually back up the California bonds so California can't fail. All of that debt, all of their contracts, everything
comes back into the government, and that's us. That means you're going to the lowest common denominator. It doesn't matter which state it is, you're going to go to the lowest common denominator, which means if California is suffering, the rest of the country pays for it. If Detroit suffers and you've got to go to Michigan, the rest of the country pays for it. You've talked a lot about progressivism. You've talked a lot about states that have been quite aggressive in that ideal, that approach. And that means that the rest of the states are going to have to, under this kind of national approach to things, have to bail those out. And that's the approach that California is pleading for right now.
How long do we last under that?
How much gold do you have?
I got more than the average person, I think. Probably, maybe not as much as I think people who are 9/12ers, I think people who have seen it coming, I think those are the people who have held on to their money, who might have some gold coins, might have something. But the rest of the world, they're going out and they're being told now, go out and buy, go out and buy. This is unsustainable. Okay. When we come back, I want to show you what some states are doing now to make sure that you don't lose your right. In fact, strengthen the rights that you do have in your own state. Just a second. We'll be back. I'm going to tell you here in just a few minutes, right after the bottom of the hour, we're going to share with you what somebody is doing in Montana and how it is now spreading to other states. And there's a step-by-step instruction program that we've given you. The judges here, Judge Andrew Napolitano is with us, and you actually wrote something for our newsletter. If you go to glennbeck.com and just sign up for the free newsletter, it's a step-by-step. What do you have to do to help grab your state's rights?
Well, I mean, basically, the essential problem that we all confront is that the government doesn't obey its own laws. And the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution, which established a footprint for the government,
right,
out of which it may not go,
right,
has been violated since day one.
Okay.
The Congress is not a general legislature. It's limited to 17 powers. But from George Washington to Barack Obama, Congresses, presidents, and I hate to say this, courts have allowed it to grow and grow and grow.
It's out of control. So hang on, because I want to come back to this here in just a second. But I want to ask you, because you looked at me like I was a madman.
I don't want you to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail.
I will defend you.
Okay.
With every fiber in my body, but I don't want you to go to jail.
If California, and Carl, you were saying, what other states are they talking about now?
Well, no, there are several states, Glenn.
Who said that?
Massachusetts and New Jersey.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Both of those states, as well as I've heard a couple others.
America, let me just be straight. Come on. You won't go with me to jail before you pay for all the crazy crap Massachusetts has been doing over the years? You want to bail their butts out? Let them fail, man. California, New Jersey. Come on. Let's buy San Quentin together. Let's all go to jail. Okay. I want to talk to Kevin Gutzman, because you are like chief expert on the 10th Amendment. I don't know. What's the 10th Amendment? The 10th Amendment is the one that says, if it's not listed, if it's not in these 9, you can't do them. It goes to the state, right?
Well, pretty much comes to that, yes.
Okay.
So as Thomas Jefferson said in 1791, the underlying idea of the federal Constitution was that there were some few powers that were being granted to the central government and the rest were being retained by the states, which you may recognize is the principle that the Revolution was fought for. I mean, it wasn't the British were imposing bad policies, it's they were imposing policies at all.
Right.
And so the Americans said, no, we want self-government through our colonial, now state legislatures. And when they came to write a federal constitution, they retained this same principle.
The idea behind America was different because it was, I have the power in my own local community. The strongest government was the local community, and then the state was a little less strong, and then the federal government was the least. We flipped that on its head, right? That was the principle.
Completely. And in fact, Thomas Jefferson answered people who said, you know, the federal government, the American government is weak because it doesn't have a big army, a big navy, high taxes like a European power. And Jefferson said, no, this is exactly our strength. Americans love their government because it doesn't do anything to them.
Right.
But over time, as the judge was saying earlier, we've come to have this opposite model where now it seems that the government is able to decide how much you get paid, who your doctor's going to be, whether you can buy a gun, what you can, anything it wants to.
By raise of hands, who feels like you've been really consulted on on any of these things, like the health care and all that? Do you feel you've been actually consulted on this? No. So you feel like it's been imposed, right? Yes. Because that's the way I feel. I feel like, wait a minute, I'm willing